fue sobrepasada por el marxismo. El pronunciamiento militar del año 1973 no tuvo otro objeto que evitar la guerra civil y además defender la democracia y restablecerla. Y este fue el itinerario constitucional que el pueblo se dio soberanamente en el plebiscito del año 80 y que no acepta ninguna intervención extranjera. Esto no lo ha hecho solo el gobierno, lo hemos hecho todos los chilenos, los buenos chilenos. El provisorio crecimiento de los últimos años así lo está demostrando, no solo a Chile, lo está demostrando al mundo entero, que nos mira con envidia. Y prueba de ello es el ataque despiadado que estos últimos días han lanzado la prensa extranjera de España, de Francia, de Alemania. Son ellos los que desinforman al mundo, señores.
They went after the people, but when they were finished with the protesters, they came at the journalists. That's all I know. They came right at.
A esta hora el cansancio y en algunos casos el aburrimiento parece llegar intensamente porque no ha habido grandes contactos periodísticos con la autoridad, que se ha limitado a leer los boletines y no ha habido ni conferencias de prensa ni tampoco boletines informativos más o menos periódicamente. De manera que a seguir con la cara de cansancio, a seguir esperando ese boletín y ese nuevo recuento del subsecretario del Interior, quien debiera estar aquí entre 12 y 12 y cuarto de la noche, es decir, dentro de unos 30 minutos, con un nuevo recuento sobre votos con las informaciones que entrega el Ministerio del Interior. Así que cuando estemos con él, vamos al contacto con el estudio central. Adelante, Jorge.
After 15 years of dictatorial military rule, General Augusto Pinochet has decided to apply to politics the logic of war.
Yes or no to Pinochet, that's it. You are with him, you are a friend. You are not with him, you are an enemy. You have to be destroyed.
Chile has been at war with itself ever since the military coup of 1973 that overthrew the democratically elected leftist government of Salvador Allende. His loyalists love the general.
Thanks God, President Pinochet saved us from the communists.
But behind the mask of benevolence, critics see an old-fashioned military dictator who has placed Chile behind bars.
I think we are in a sort of a civil war between civilians with the army on the side of one.
The war is fought in the streets and, with censorship loosened for the plebiscite, on television, using Madison Avenue tactics and soldiers recruited in Hollywood.
And bring democracy back to Chile. Go get them.
The image makers have been at work on the general, too, his elegant uniform replaced by a suit and tie with a pearl stick pin, the Iron Soldier transformed into a kindly grandfather for the campaign. His TV message is that a no vote means the return of the communist apocalypse. Pinochet says a vote against him is a vote for communism, but there are 16 opposition parties and all agree on one thing. Pinochet must go.
He never thought that political parties of the opposition were going to unite. And for the first time in 15 years, and since February the 2nd, we've united.
They've set up a parallel vote counting system to try to keep the government honest, but the question is whether a dictator accustomed to power can ever accept defeat.
Even if he loses, Pinochet won't be gone for good. He doesn't have to call an open election for more than a year, and his tailor-made constitution allows him to remain commander of the armed forces. Juan Vázquez, CBS News, Santiago.
Even General Pinochet's most ardent opponents couldn't quite believe what happened. They said all along they had the votes to win, but never thought the government that had fought them for so long would recognize their victory so quickly.
Objectively, everything told us that we were going to win. But, you know, we are under a dictatorship, and we always thought that this was a dream.
In the early hours of the morning, a leading government official conceded that official figures showed the vote going against General Pinochet.
El gran ganador es el país.
Later, the Interior Minister said the government would support the results, adding, the Chilean nation is the real winner. The commanders of the armed forces entered the National Palace after midnight to meet with General Pinochet, who is expected to make a statement today. In spite of the massive turnout, the vote process developed without incidents, without the expected charges of cheating. So far, celebrating has been limited to opposition headquarters. Anti-Pinochet voters were asked to stay home last night to avoid potential confrontations with the police. But a lot of celebrating is expected today. In the wake of the opposition victory in Chile, a wave of emotion swept the capital. Thousands joined the impromptu demonstrations that broke out in the downtown area. Much of it was sheer exuberance by Chileans who have been struggling for a long time against the 15-year rule of General Augusto Pinochet. The emotions of this unique moment in the nation's history are deeply felt, sometimes confusing. When a rumor that Pinochet had resigned began to circulate, youths who had been taunting the police moments earlier rushed to congratulate them. The rumor turned out to be false.
Renuevo mi compromiso de cumplir el mandato recibido.
In a brief but impassioned appearance on national television, General Pinochet promised to accept the electoral results, but to stick by the tailor-made constitution that allows him to remain president for more than a year and commander-in-chief of the armed forces after that. The Interior Minister declared that all the members of the cabinet have turned in their resignations, but Pinochet hasn't accepted them so far.
¿Ustedes creen que va a subir así?
Some Pinochet supporters expressed sorrow for their leader. This woman said he never got credit for the good things he did. Some of his opponents sought to find a new spirit of conciliation with traditional antagonists. But a nation that has been under a virtual state of siege for more than 15 years is finding it difficult to achieve democracy overnight. Juan Vázquez, CBS News, Santiago.
after the initial assault by the police on the people, I returned to the scene to see another photographer being beaten up by the police themselves. And after I tried to help him out, they turned on me and I ended up having to run for my life.
A las 8:10 de la noche, en la Alameda frente al Paseo Ahumada, las fuerzas policiales actuaron con violencia. Golpearon incluso a periodistas nacionales y extranjeros. El camarógrafo que grabó estas imágenes fue agredido, como también reporteros gráficos de El Mercurio y La Tercera. Uno de ellos recibió puntapiés cuando estaba en el suelo. Esta situación, que se repite por segundo día consecutivo con la misma gravedad y que dejó además a 4 corresponsales extranjeros heridos, motivó una marcha de protesta de los profesionales desde el Hotel Carrera hasta el Ministerio de Defensa. Hace pocos minutos se llamó a una reunión urgente de todos los representantes de la prensa internacional.
Venían un grupo de manifestantes y detrás unos cuantos carabineros a por ellos. El primero me preguntó, no, periodista, pasó. Y el segundo pasó, se volvió para atrás, se dio cuenta que era periodista y a la voz de ahora nos toca a nosotros, me cogieron en una esquina entre 3, empezaron a golpearme, me defendí de los golpes en la cabeza con el brazo, he recibido varios golpes en la espalda, en los hombros, en la cabeza no recibí ninguno porque me protegí con el brazo, tengo 4 o 5 golpes morados, el brazo roto, rotura del tercio anterior del cúbito. Y
¿se rompieron además las cámaras fotográficas?
Sí, las cámaras fotográficas, las dos, las llevaba colgadas una a cada lado. Están absolutamente destrozadas.
Qué locura.
There were actually 6, including myself, still photographers. They came in and they encircled us, immediately started clubbing us. And I broke out. I just put my hands up and broke out away. It only got clubbed, but it didn't really hurt. They hit me in the body. And I got away, and I looked over and I saw, my companions being kicked to the ground and beaten. So at this point, I ran to the center island in the Alameda where there were the government photographers, thinking it would be safe there. And from there, I watched the police kick and kick and kick these photographers who had bunched themselves into a ball underneath this thing, and they were clubbing and clubbing and clubbing till at least 45 seconds of beating. There was a girl who I believe it was Liliana.
¿Esta situación con carabineros se dio cuando ustedes estaban junto con manifestantes o en qué lugar físico?
Nosotros nos encontrábamos lejos de los manifestantes porque nos pidieron justamente eso, que nos mantuviésemos detrás, y así lo hicimos, pero lisa y llanamente, aparentemente hubo una orden de atacarnos y no dejarnos trabajar. Hoy día no nos dejaron trabajar.
¿Todos ustedes estaban con sus credenciales, las acreditaciones oficiales?
Exactamente, y eso fue peor.
The journalists were injured after police charged a crowd of several hundred demonstrators near the presidential palace. Up to that time, it had been a peaceful protest, but after dispersing the crowd, the police then turned on reporters and camera crews.
They saw our credentials, they saw our camera, but in spite of that, they started to beat us. They follow us and they beat.
One clinic treated 8 journalists for head wounds and other injuries. A New York photographer was hospitalized overnight, and another said police chased him for several blocks and broke his nose.
I got kicked in the face. You could see the boot coming into my face, and you really don't feel any pain, but it was definitely being kicked in the face.
Nosotros estábamos bien ubicados, o sea, del lado de los carabineros, pudimos, cubrir bien lo que era la represión, pero inmediatamente volvieron hacia nosotros, que éramos un grupo de periodistas no muy grande, de aproximadamente 10 periodistas, sin ningún manifestante alrededor, y nos golpearon a sabiendas de quién éramos.